You're listening to Mind the Gap, the podcast that explores the space between knowing and doing, between intention and action, and the curious, often messy human experience in between. In this episode, we're tackling a familiar foe, procrastination. From ancient philosophy to modern psychology, from emotional intelligence to everyday habit, we'll ask why we delay what matters and what it really takes to move from stuck to started. So, if you've ever said, I'll get to it later, you're in the right place. Here's Michael. Eventually.
You know, this is an episode that nearly never got made. Have you ever found yourself staring at a task you know you need to do, but somehow you just don't? Maybe you've told yourself you'll start tomorrow, or after one more coffee, or when you really feel ready. But here's the thing. Tomorrow keeps shifting further away, and that moment of readiness, well, it rarely arrives. Procrastination isn't just a bad habit. It's a battle between logic and emotion, between long-term goals and short-term comfort. And the worst part, we know we're doing it. We know we'll regret it. And yet, we still do it. So why do we delay? What's actually happening in our minds when we push things off? And more importantly, how do we stop? In this episode, we're diving deep into the psychology of procrastination, the wisdom of the Stoics and the practical strategies that can help you take action finally. If you've ever lost hours, days, or even years to procrastination, this episode is for you. Stay with me as we unpack the what and why, and most importantly, how to overcome it. Procrastination is a strange beast. We know it well. We recognize it in ourselves and others, and yet we continue to succumb to it, time and time again. The Greeks had a word for it, akrasia, the state of acting against one's better judgment. Socrates and Aristotle wrestled with this idea, struggling to understand why we often fail to do what we know is right or necessary. Today, thousands of years later, modern psychology offers explanations that blend the rational with the emotional, the cognitive with the behavioural. And yet, the problem remains. There's no shortage of people admitting to their struggles with procrastination. I love deadlines, Douglas Adams once quipped. I love the whooshing sound they make as they fly by. He's far from alone in this sentiment. Victor Hugo, facing his own tendency to delay, famously locked away his clothes, ensuring he had nothing to wear that would allow him to leave his study. Left with no choice, he stayed inside and wrote. That's one way to deal with it. Research tells us that roughly 20% of adults identify as chronic procrastinators. In academia, it's even worse. Studies show that 80 to 95% of college students procrastinate, particularly when it comes to completing assignments. Now, this isn't just a matter of laziness or poor time management. It's far deeper than that. Dr. Piers Steel, a leading researcher on the subject, argues that procrastination isn't just about avoiding work, it's about avoiding negative emotions. When faced with a task that provokes anxiety, self-doubt, or boredom, we seek out distractions that offer immediate gratification. The problem is, those distractions do nothing to solve the underlying issue, and the anxiety, well, it only grows. The Stoics had a clear stance on procrastination. Do what needs to be done now. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations wrote, "You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow." This is the heart of the issue. We tell ourselves we will do better later, that our future self will be more disciplined, more focused, and more prepared. The flaw in this thinking is obvious. The future self is just another version of our present self, only saddled now with more pressure and guilt. Modern psychology offers a variety of explanations for why we put things off. One of the most compelling is temporal motivation theory. This suggests that people are less motivated to complete a task when the reward is far off in the future. This explains why long-term projects like writing a book or completing a degree often fall victim to procrastination. The immediate reward of watching a video, checking social media, or tidying the house is far more appealing than the distant reward of eventual achievement. The same principle applies to health-related procrastination, putting off exercise, delaying doctor's appointments, ignoring financial planning. The consequences seem too remote until suddenly they aren't. In a world geared towards instant gratification, procrastination has become even more insidious. Social media, endless scrolling, and the dopamine hits of immediate feedback have made distractions more alluring than ever. Studies show that procrastination is on the rise, particularly in younger generations who've grown up with near constant access to entertainment and quick fix solutions. Emotional intelligence plays a significant role in overcoming procrastination. Daniel Goleman, who popularized the concept of emotional intelligence, highlights self-regulation as one of the key components. Those who can manage their emotions effectively are better at resisting the pull of immediate pleasure in favor of a long-term gain. This aligns well with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes control over impulse and the discipline to act in accordance with reason rather than fleeting feelings. Seneca advised, "Hold fast to this sound and wholesome rule of life. Indulge the body only as far as is necessary for good health." That same principle can be applied to distractions. Indulge only as far as is necessary for rest, but no further. One particularly effective approach to tackling procrastination is the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This strategy cuts through avoidance and prevents small tasks from piling into a larger, more daunting burden. Another is the scary hour technique, a trend that has gained traction online, where individuals dedicate one focused hour to tackling the most immediate and intimidating task on their list. The idea is simple but powerful. Fear dissipates when faced directly. Not all procrastinations are created equal. Some people delay out of perfectionism, fearing that their work will never be good enough. Others delay out of rebellion, resenting imposed deadlines and expectations. Still others delay out of sheer exhaustion, mentally or emotionally drained from other demands. Understanding the root cause of procrastination is essential to overcome it. Perhaps the most important realization is that procrastination is not a character flaw. It's a coping mechanism. The problem is, it's an ineffective one. As Tim Urban, the creator of the popular blog Wait But Why, illustrates in his TED Talk on procrastination, the real enemy is the instant gratification monkey in our brain, steering us towards short-term pleasures at the expense of long-term goals. The key is to learn how to take the wheel back. Viktor Frankl, in his seminal work Man's Search for Meaning, reminds us that between stimulus and response there is a space, and in that space lies our power to choose our response. Overcoming procrastination is about recognizing that space and making the choice to act, not tomorrow, not later, but now. Procrastination is a battle, not against work itself, but against the fears, doubts, and discomforts that accompany it. But as the Stoics teach us, the obstacle is the way. The thing we resist doing is often the very thing that will bring us growth. We just have to take the first step. So where does that leave us? We know that procrastination isn't just about time management. It's about emotion, avoidance, and the stories we tell ourselves about what we can handle. We push things to the side, thinking we'll be a better version of ourselves tomorrow. But tomorrow is just today, slightly older, and slightly more burdened. The Stoics would remind us that the only time we truly have is now. Marcus Aurelius, in his direct and unflinching way, said it plainly. Do not act as if we have 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Now that might sound heavy-handed, but the point is clear. If something matters, it matters now, not at some imagined future moment when conditions will be more ideal, when motivation will strike, or when we feel more ready. Readiness is a myth. Action is what shapes us. If procrastination is, at its core, a failure of emotional regulation, then the way forward isn't just to push harder or punish ourselves for delaying. It's to understand why we hesitate and address that, not just the surface behaviours. Fear of failure, perfectionism, resentment, exhaustion, each has its own cure, but all require the same first step, deciding that the moment to begin is now. Because in the end, as Seneca put it, while we are postponing, life speeds by. The only way to break the cycle is to start, to move forward, imperfectly, today. Mind the gap.
Thanks for being with us for this episode. And for the last 28. Mind the Gap continues. And I'm so glad you're part of the journey. Whether you've been listening from day one or just joined us recently, your time and attention mean a lot. If today's reflection on procrastination sparked something in you, consider sharing the episode with a friend or colleague. These conversations are meant to be shared, and you never know who might need to hear them. There's more to come, more gaps to explore, and more insights to uncover. Please mind the gap, and we'll talk to you next week.